The UK is getting ready for a public holiday to celebrate the Platinum Jubilee of Queen Elizabeth, marking her 70 years on the British throne. On Thursday, hundreds of soldiers will parade through central London in the traditional Trooping the Colour. Buckingham Palace is also set to host a concert in the Queen's honour this weekend, and street parties will be held in neighbourhoods all over the country. Our correspondent Giles Gibson joins us live now from London. Giles, thank you so much for joining us. How are the preparations going for the Jubilee celebrations?
Well, certainly walking around London and other parts of the UK, it is very clear that there is a very big event about to happen. I can tell you there are Union Jack flags in towns and villages all over the country, and of course we are getting ready for some official events that have just been months or perhaps even years in the planning. What we have really at the centre of all of this is the Trooping of the Colour ceremony. That's when there are going to be well over 1,000 soldiers parading past Buckingham Palace. We're also going to have a couple of hundred horses involved, military horses, and several hundred musicians, and then there will be an RAF, a Royal Air Force fly past as the royal family gather on the balcony of Buckingham Palace. But of course it's not just these big set pieces, it's not just these big official events. There's also going to be street parties, just small street parties organised in small villages, small towns and different neighbourhoods in cities right across the country to mark the Platinum Jubilee.
And when we look at, of course, Prince Harry and Meghan, how involved are they expected to be?
Well, we understand that Prince Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, that they are going to be involved in the celebrations somehow. However, we are not expecting them to appear on the balcony of Buckingham Palace during the Trooping the Colour on Thursday. We are not expecting them to join the Queen and the rest of the royal family in that public appearance. We are, though, expecting to see them at some point in front of the cameras during a Thanksgiving service for the Queen that is being held at St Paul's Cathedral in central London on Friday. This is obviously quite an important moment for them, because this is really the first time we're going to see them in public here in the UK as a couple since they left the UK for California back in March of 2020. They have previously visited the UK actually just a few months ago on their way to the Invictus Games, but that was very much behind closed door. They just went to visit the Queen behind closed doors. So this is really a sort of a moment where they'll be very much in focus, having left the UK a couple of years ago.
And I read in some of the reports, of course, that looking at the events that are to take place to mark this Jubilee, talking about a rather unusual sighting. I mean, the pop-up Koji Cafe. Are you able to tell us more about that?
I haven't actually seen that, but I can certainly tell you that different businesses around the country are really just getting ready for this, and perhaps small businesses, trying to turn a profit off the Platinum Jubilee as well. There is a brewery, for example, in Windsor, which of course is home to one of the royal residences, Windsor Castle. That company, they've unveiled a special beer to mark the occasion, of course trying to boost their sales as Brits head into a 4-day long weekend and celebrate the Queen.
And when we then, of course, talk about members of the public, one can't help think about the fact that, there's still concern around the pandemic. I wonder if this was taken into account at all, or is it just all systems go?
It really is all systems go, because here in the UK there are really no coronavirus restrictions left in place. You really, walking around the capital, London, or other parts of the country, you don't see people wearing masks. There is no rules around wearing a mask on public transport, for example. Really the only time Brits are wearing masks now, generally speaking, is when they get on a flight to another part of the UK or flying somewhere internationally. So that That's right. This is certainly an important moment for the UK in terms of trying to move on from all the coronavirus restrictions we've seen in place since the spring of 2020. And this is really one of the first few times that we're going to see very large crowds gathering in parts of central London, for example, as we see the Trooping the Colour ceremony taking place. Those hundreds or well over 1,000 soldiers marching past the palace to mark this really historic occasion for Queen Elizabeth.
Quite historic indeed, Giles, and I'm sure you'll be watching very closely and really enjoying some of those festivities. Thank you so much for giving us an update of how things are going. That is SABC News correspondent Giles Gibson, live from London.